Hello, let me show you how to add a stiff fabric covered liner with a ruffle on top to this lemon farmhouse basket. It's part of the lemon farmhouse kitchen and table decor series of crochet patterns. But first, let's talk about supplies. You're going to need glue sticks, several of them, a pencil, that's your best friend in this project, a pair of scissors to cut cardboard with, and a pair of scissors to cut fabric with. I left out the tape measure and straight pins. You'll need several of those. You'll also need needle and thread, a scrap piece of sewing fleece, and then of course the basket. You can do this project on any basket. I'll show you how to measure this basket so that your basket will fit. You'll need flimsy cardboard. Now you can use a heavier cardboard for the bottom, and then this fabric. I picked this fabric up. It's 100% cotton gingham check. I picked it up at Michael's. I washed it. It came out without any wrinkles. It's a beautiful piece of fabric. So I need to cut this first piece. I need to cut a 3-inch strip. So I'm going to lay it out so that the top edge has a little bit of a rough edge. I need to lay it out so that I can cut that rough edge off and then cut a 3-inch strip. The 3-inch strip will be used to make the ruffle at the top of the basket, but I need to get that out of the way right now. And as you can see, I found my 3-inch mark, and with gingham check you can use the grid that is in the print. It makes the project so much easier. There we go. It's just about cut. All right, now we need to cut the 2 selvage edges off. Those are the 2 side edges. They're hard. I need to get rid of those. So let's cut that off on the one side, on the right side, and on the left side. They're cut off. Now I'm going to do some finger pressing. I don't want a stiff iron pressing. I want to just fold this in half and really press it with my fingers. Rub it a couple of times, but the corner down here needs to be folded in about 3/8 of an inch, just one end. One end only needs to be folded in 3/8 of an inch. Now fold that in half and finger press, and then finger press the entire piece. I did not want a really crisp edge on this, as I wanted it to look more like a farmhouse piece of fabric, something that wasn't stiffly pressed by an iron. So when you're finished, this piece will measure, let's see, 42 inches. A 42-inch piece of fabric. So let's neatly fold this and put it aside, and folding it neatly on top of each other will help it hold that finger press. So I'm really careful right there on that end. I don't want that to get loose on me. I don't want it to unfold. All right, so here we have our basket. Let's place the basket on the larger piece of cardboard. Like I said, you can use a stiffer piece of cardboard if you want, and I'm kind of wishing that I had, but it's not really that needed. The sides don't need a real stiff cardboard, as the sides need to bend. So we take our pencil and we're going to mark around the base of the basket, but we're not going to hold the pencil straight up and down. We're going to hold it at a 45-degree angle, and it's just going to barely, the tip of the pencil is just going to barely go under the edge of the basket, and that pencil won't leave a mark on your basket either. So here we go. All right, I have a circle. Is it perfect? No, it doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, but here, let me cut it out for you. It'll only take a second. I'll speed up the film for you. Here we go. Cut off some rough edges. There we go. All right, now, does it fit the basket? It's perfect. It fits on the inside. If I were to use just the outside circumference, it would be too big for the bottom of the basket. Now we need to put this on the scrap of sewing fleece and trace it. Just use your pencil to trace it and cut it out. The next step is we will glue that with a hot glue gun. It doesn't have to be super glued in a super hard manner. Just put a little bit of glue on it. There we go. And put it on there. See? A little bit of it will lift up. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, we're ready. All right, now we need to place it on our gingham check fabric. We need to cut out at least 1.5 inches around the circumference of the circle. All right, you can use a tracing method to make sure it's exact, but I just eyeball it. I just cut it out, and I cut off any rough edges that I might see, and I did pretty good. Only that one little corner. Okay, now we need to turn over the fabric and place the fleece side down. You know, the fleece, place it down, and we're going to make little slits all around. We're going to cut slits with our fabric scissors all the way around the circumference. We're not cutting right up to the cardboard, and it doesn't take very long. And this doesn't have to be exact. We just need to make little tabs to fold up and iron in place so that it will so that we can cover this circle. If we tried to do this with just by folding over the edges without putting the slits in, you would have points. It wouldn't be a smooth round finish. And when you sew, when you glue, not sew those tabs, do them at an angle. They don't have to be straight up, just at an angle, just a little bit. There you go. All right, that's finished. It looks nice. I'll get rid of those glue strings. Okay. Now, you may need to go back through and glue those tabs a little more. It's up to you, but it fits beautifully in the basket. There we go. So now we need to do some measuring. We want to find out how tall to make the side piece. All right. So we're measuring from the top of the mini bean stitch that look like little lemons. All right. So I need to, from the top, so 3¼ inches. That's where I want to put that. And I shortened it just a little bit because of the ruffle. Yep, 3¼ inches is all I need. So let's cut that out. Let's use this scrap piece of poster board. I got this poster board at the Dollar Tree. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. I liken this to the weight of a cereal box, the cardboard. It reminds me of what they use to make cereal boxes. All right, so we have our cardboard. Let's see if it fits around the basket. A little bit long. Let's measure this and see how long it is. Let's measure the circumference of the basket. And it is, let's see, it's 24 inches. Okay, all right, 24 inches, and my is 28. So I'm going to cut a couple of inches off. I do want the cardboard to overlap a couple of inches on the inside. So let's place it on the fabric. We need to have 1.5 inches of fabric on each side and on each end. So I've got it. So because of that grid, I can place that cardboard 1.5 inches away by using my tape measure, and then I will measure where I need to cut. Okay, here we go. Let's speed this up for you. There we go. And on this end. If only crafting were that fast. Okay, now turn the fabric over and place the cardboard on the wrong side of the fabric. And we'll glue each end in first. First we'll glue this end. Place a line of glue. And then fold it over. Make sure it's even. There we go. Fold it over. Now, we want to go ahead and fold over one corner. That is the corner that is toward me while I am where I am working. Okay, so now this corner needs to be folded over, but it doesn't need to be folded over straight. It needs to go at an angle. All right, not at a sharp angle like that, but at a, not like that. Yeah, like that. It maybe not even that deep, but you don't want it to be straight up and down. You want it to be just inside the edge, just a little bit. So place some of the glue on the fabric and let's fold that in. Now you can see how I have just angled it just a little bit. All right, fix that little corner there. And then turn the work and do the exact same thing on the other end. And I'll speed all this up for you. Look at the angle. There we go. Now we're ready to glue the sides down. We're finished. Woohoo! All right, that looks good. Okay, it's going to fit around the base that we have created. So put it on the table, wrap the side piece around the base and just give it a pull. The fabric will kind of mesh together. So really make sure it is snug. All right, give it a test. Make sure it's snug. All right, there we go. And even without any glue or anything, you should be able to pick this part of the basket up. Making sure everything is tight. Give it another little squeeze there. Okay, we're good to go. It looks nice. See, we can pick it up. Of course, a stiff wind would knock that apart, but we're going to fix that. Normally, I staple this part, but I wanted to show you how you can also use a glue gun, but it takes a little bit of time, simply because you have to glue it and hold it and wait and wait. And I have sped up the waiting. But there really is a considerable amount of waiting. So where the seams are, where the ends overlap, make sure you glue those very tight. Make sure they're really solid before you move on. Okay, now it is time to start gluing right along the edge where the side meets the bottom of the basket. You're going to lay a heavy line of glue. Now it is going to be more toward the base of the basket and just kind of bloom up and grab into the basket sides. Now we'll have to sit and wait. This is a waiting project. This part does take a little bit of time. I'm going to sit there and let it wait. I've sped up the camera, but I'm just touching up that one corner edge, and now I'm gluing and then sitting and waiting and gluing and sitting and waiting and gluing and sitting and waiting. Oh, you get the picture. All right. One last close-up of the gluing for you. Really heavy line of glue, back and forth, back and forth. And do stick your hands up inside every once in a while and push to make sure that the base is even and flush with the side piece. Sometimes it dips down. There you go. Now let's just wait. Have to let this dry before we move on to the next step. Just keep adding glue until you're satisfied. It will really be a thick application of glue. Okay, now I want to show you where that side seam is. There is a little bit of a gap where you have two pieces together. So you may not be able to see it, but my thumb that is out of the picture is pushing that little gap closed, and I'm adding the glue really thick right there, but I'm keeping that gap closed until it is dry. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but it is worth it. It is so worth it. All right, I'm pushing. Okay, so I am pushing and waiting. Let me speed that up for you. Okay, and now you can see I'm showing you how heavily glued those edges are. The glue is more toward the base of the basket and just catches the sides of the basket. And when that dries, it's a beautiful treatment. You don't see glue on the inside at all. It's such a nice treatment. And I'm giving that corner edge one more good shot. I just want to make sure that this is glued down nicely. There we go. Just, it's not going to hurt to add extra glue. Okay, just sit and hold, make sure it is glued well, and we are ready to move on to the treatment of the ruffle. I did forget to mention though that that upper edge on the inside does need to be glued. You'll need to glue that down. I did that off camera. It wasn't caught for some reason. So let's move to the ruffle. Oh, this is the exciting part. So I have taken needle and thread, and I just did a running basting stitch. And as you can see, I have ruffled it already, pre-ruffled it, but this is a little bit tight. I don't want it to be super ruffly. I want it to look like loose, random ruffles that are sticking up from the edge of the basket. Let's get a little bit of a look at this. Yeah, that's still a little bit ruffly, but that's giving me an idea of what I want to do and where I want to place it. This is going to be cute. I can't wait to finish this and show you all. So yeah, and I love the fact that the gingham check has a grid, so you're not going to have, not going to worry about where to place the ruffle. It just about an inch to 3/4 of an inch below the edge. That's simple. Find your grid mark and then you use it all the way around and you're good to go. Now I'm loosening up my ruffles here, but I do need to take a few more with my needle and thread. I do need to take a few more basting stitches, and I'm going to show you how to do this, but most everyone knows how to take a running basting stitch. It's just in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, and we leave about 2 inches that have not been basted. See, this is the folded edge. I want to leave 2 inches of this unbasted. So I'm going to leave the needle and thread hooked in there. Going to place this in a circle, lay it out in a circle. That's right, make sure there are no twists. And then I'm going to join these 2 edges together. I'm going to pin them together. I'm going to open the folded edge and just tuck the raw edge. See, did you see where I pulled the ruffle back out of there? I need this section to be flat while working with it. I just tucked it right in, and that folded edge will create that nice edge that you need. And now I'm going to put a straight pin in there. And that will hold it while I'm placing this around the basket. Because you need to get it placed in a way that's basically a trial run. So we're going to pin this around the basket. Remember, leave the basting, I'm going to give it a little pull, leave the needle and thread, the basting needle and thread hooked in there because I may need to use it a bit more. Yeah, just fuss with it. Try to go ahead and get the ruffles so that they're not super ruffly, and see if it'll fit around the basket. All right, there we go. That's the edging, not the edge, the join area. And so the join area is where I have the join of the fabric, also where I straight pinned the two pieces together there, the two ends, where I tucked that one end in. All right, this is a little fiddly. Just let's see if we can get this around the basket. And you might have to adjust. It will fit. As I'm opening it up, I'm really thankful that I left that needle and thread in place. That way I can pull and use it to adjust. I'm sure I will be using it. Huh, look there. All right, trial run looks pretty good. Okay, so now we need to start pinning the ruffle in place. Just place it, when you get the ruffle where you want it, just straight down, just grabbing in the fabric. You don't have to go into the cardboard. Just straight down, catching the fabric, just like that. So while you're pinning, just mess with the ruffles. Make sure there's not too many gathers in one area or too little in one area. Okay, now see, I'm going to open this up just a little bit. Don't worry about the fact that some of it is still loose and I'm developing a gap. Remember, I still have the needle and thread that I can pull. But I am a little particular about how I want the ruffles also. I want them to look a certain way. I don't want them to be tight ruffles. Okay, now you'll see where I'm going to use that needle and thread and pull to help continue the ruffling. That helped a lot, and I will use that more. And I have this gap. I will finger press the ruffles in place from here on out. Give it one more little tug if I can. And I need to put that needle and thread to the outside of the basket so it's not, there you go. Pull it to the outside, that way you can clip it off. There's no need to remove the basting stitches. They are just there as an aid to help you put the ruffle on the side of the basket. So, pin. I know this may seem tedious, but there we go. Give it another tug. You can do this. This last part may seem a little bit difficult, but you can do this. You know how to ruffle. It's just a couple of inches of ruffling that have not been basted. So just gather it with your fingers and just get it in place. Here we go. Not too worried about it. Look, it's not that much. It won't be that hard. Yeah, just give it a little fold. There. Yeah, pin it. Put a pin in it. You'll be surprised how fast that all comes together. It won't take that long. Another little fold or two. Let's mash it. There we I don't want too many bunches in one area, so I'm just going to go over that real quick. Make sure everything is even until I'm happy with it, and then I'll grab the glue gun. All right, now you unpin in a certain area and you let the ruffle drop down just enough. Now you should still see the pleats, so you're letting the ruffle drop down just enough that you can put that glue line right along the basting stitch. And as you can see, there's still a bit of a crease where the ruffles were, so you just undo a little bit and then just put it right back up there in place. Super easy. Just mess with it. Make it look like you want it to look. It's super easy. It's a little tedious, a little time consuming, but anything worth doing takes a little bit of time. Yeah, I can see I want an extra little pleat right there. Yep. I don't even realize there's a pin there. Here we go. Right along that basting line along the thread, that was the basting line. That looks good. Yes, that looks good. All right, let's continue gluing the ruffle in place. We are almost finished. This is getting exciting. All right, there you have it. The ruffle is glued in place, but we need to go through and, number one, cut the needle and thread off. I haven't done that yet. And then glue up under the edge and make that edge right there flush. So just stick the tip of the glue gun up under those ruffle edges and just put a little bit of glue and just mash it with your finger. Make sure that it is as smooth right there as possible, because that's going to be many. I have 3 right now. Basket tutorials on how to add a liner to a crocheted basket. You can do this to any basket. How cute is this? How cute. I hope you've enjoyed your time on my side of the mountain. Remember to look for hashtag summer celebration at Krissy's, Krissy's with a K, and I hope to see you on my side of the mountain again soon. And really, it was great to have you. The summer celebration, this is the conclusion to it. And I hope you'll come to my side of the mountain more often. Bye.